News, sport and podcasts for the MA broadcast students at Cardiff University. This is CJS News.
This is CJS News with Sophie Nixon and Claire Janina.
The headlines today. Cardiff tax bills are going up in Cardiff.
6% is a lot for people that can't afford to pay their bills.
More needs to be done to tackle climate change, says an outgoing MS. And the Wales rugby coach Warren Gatland has defended his decision to drop players ahead of the match on Sunday. There's been criticism after the decision to increase council tax by 6% in Cardiff. Opposition councillors say the budget plans which were approved last night are unnecessary, but the councils say they have to make savings to fill a £30 million deficit. Our reporter Rhiannon Eves has more. So Rhiannon, what does this increase in council tax mean?
So if you are living in a Band D house, you have to start paying an extra £1.60 per week. And that means over the year, that will add up to around £85 overall. There was a mixed reaction from these people in the city centre.
There are always things that people don't like, and then you feel like they're a waste of money and other services are being cut. So it doesn't seem to be very balanced.
Rising council tax, 6% is good because it helps deal with the budget deficit and hopefully it helps maintain the services that we come to expect from the council.
6% is a lot for people that can't afford to pay their bills, food and all that sort of stuff.
We've been reporting on a number of proposals over the past few months. So what exactly was approved last night?
Yeah, so a few things were approved, including library opening hours getting reduced, as well as the number of park rangers. Proposals to move to 3 weekly waste collections for black bins are also planned to come into place later in the year. I spoke to Councillor Adrian Robson from the Conservatives, who thinks that it's a step backwards.
And there are areas of Cardiff where I don't think that a 3 weekly black bin collection will really work. I think of some of the city centre areas where unfortunately, there's a lot more rubbish and perhaps people aren't as diligent in putting out their bins on the right day as perhaps some other parts of the city.
So what's been the reaction from the opposition?
Well, as expected, the Conservative councillors do think that this is an unnecessary budget. Councillor Owen Jones for the Conservatives said last night that vulnerable people would struggle with paying this new council tax price as they are hit disproportionately by these plans.
Why do the council need to do this?
So over the past few years, the council have lost over 30 million in revenue from things like schooling budgets and the cost of the city's parks. The council say that they have been left with an extremely difficult decision to try to bridge this gap in its budget.
Thank you, Rhiannon.
The Foreign Secretary has confirmed Britain will help the US set up aid deliveries to Gaza by sea. Lord Cameron says the people there are in desperate humanitarian need. This comes after President Biden announced overnight that his forces will start to build a temporary port to be able to deliver aid to Gaza.
2 major high street retailers have told CJS News they're banning the sale of ring frisbees in their stores following a campaign by a marine wildlife group in South Wales. Tesco and Pets at Home have said they've taken the decision because of an increase in the number of seal deaths caused by the plastic toys. The Gower Seal Group said they're now hoping more stores will do the same. Ruby Lewis reports.
As the weather gets warmer, more of us will be heading to the beach, but the Gower Seal Group say we should leave our plastic ring frisbees at home. Gareth Richards from the organisation says the toys become wrapped round the seals' necks, choking them as they reach adulthood. He says they're a danger to the future of seals on the coastline.
I've seen a significant rise in the seals that are coming in that have been damaged by these things around their necks. Devastating effects of these on the seals.
You can buy a ring frisbee for as little as £1.30, but Tesco and Pets at Home have now confirmed to CJS News they're taking the toys off their shelves once and for all. The Gower Seal Group has welcomed the decision, but Gareth says it's time for a complete ban on frisbees.
They're left on the beach, they end up in the sea, and in time you get like a curious seal. 2 minutes of curiosity is going to end up in a lifetime of misery, because once it's on their necks, they cannot get it off.
The Marine Conservation Society says it's concerned about the rise in seal deaths and the impact of plastic in the UK seas. Lizzie Price says people going to the beach should think again about taking plastic toys to the coast.
Awareness is really important, so people know the harm that these items can do. So, such as, there's been some really horrific images of seals caught with these materials around their neck. So I think awareness of the issue as well, and just championing that maybe that that anything that can cause that kind of harm needs to be thought about, whether we need to produce them, and frisbees without those rings in them.
Tesco and Pets at Home emailed the Gal Seal Group saying they were now taking responsibility for the harm some of their products were causing UK marine life.
An outgoing Welsh Government minister has criticised the UK and Welsh Government for not moving fast enough in tackling climate change. Lee Waters says more needs to be done to solve the long-term challenges ahead.
Well, I really worry about the climate targets across all governments, really, because there are so many short-term challenges around austerity and around cost of living crisis, that there are always calls to do things that help in the very short term, but don't help address the long-term challenges we know we have.
More needs to be done to support victims of sex crimes, according to the Women's Officer for Cardiff University. A BBC Wales investigation found that there's been more than 1,000 sexual misconduct cases across Wales's 8 universities in the past 6 years. Daisy Tipping says while staff are aware of the issue, it is often swept under the rug.
It's not a surprising figure at all. Universities just don't want to talk about it. It's not a fun, happy thing to talk about, but it is a needed conversation. I think every university needs to take a big look at what actually they are doing to help victims. At the moment, nothing is really being done, or if it's being done, it's a box-ticking exercise. It's there to say, look, we are doing something, rather than necessarily, we are doing this to help victims.
People living in Barry say more needs to be done to stop fly tipping on their beaches. They say industrial waste being dumped on the Bendrix beach is upsetting people who live there. Tom Taylor reports.
It's awful, the fly tipping. Since I moved here 18 months ago, it's got worse.
That's Sharon Davis. She lives near the Bendrix beach in Barry and walks her dog Poppy there.
The fly tipping on the road where the freezer is in the suite is awful. And then there's cardboard fly tipping on the grass. People don't care. And where you said where the Bendrix is, it's horrendous.
It's not a particularly well-known or scenic beach. It has an almost Martian rocky landscape which hides quaint rock pools and fossilised dinosaur footprints. But residents I've spoken to tell me that the Bendrix beach in Barry is a hotspot for fly tipping. I'm at the end of the beach which backs on to an industrial estate. There's a section of fence missing where waste has been tipped onto the beach. I can see plastic tubing, plasterboard and metal wire. On the cliff further up there was a paint bucket and part of some furniture dumped among the bracken. I asked Lizzie Price, Beach Watch Programme Manager at the Marine Conservation Society, about what impact fly tipping can have on ocean wildlife.
Fly tipping can be really harmful when it gets into our coasts and our oceans by causing cuts and lacerations and entanglement. So really important that these things don't end up in our environment, because we have an amazing biodiversity around our UK coastline, and they can all be impacted by the litter that's left on the coast.
Many of the residents I spoke to said they had noticed that the Vale Council are cracking down on fly tipping, but say that the Bendrix remains a problem area. A spokesperson from the council said, "There is no excuse for fly tipping. It is illegal and causes significant damage to the environment." They said failure to dispose properly of commercial waste poses a significant risk to wildlife and public health.
The Welsh Rural Affairs Minister has welcomed the response to the proposed farming scheme as the consultation period ends today. But Leslie Griffiths has told CJS News in an exclusive interview that at times she's been worried about her safety.
It's never nice to get threats, and it's been a difficult time, I think it's fair to say. Some of the emails have been pretty dire, I have to say, that I've received, so I just pass them to the police. I try not to, dwell on it, but you could get a bit down about it all. It's and for my family as well. My mum is in her late 80s and was clearly very worried yesterday.
A former BBC correspondent has told CJS News she believes the King should apologise for Britain's role in the slave trade. Laura Trevelyan says that he should follow the example set by other European monarchs.
The royal family's linked to slavery through something called the Royal African Company, which actually shipped the enslaved from Africa to Britain's colonies. So there's a direct link, and the king is indicating that he's thinking about it. What he's going to do, who knows? But you would think the Dutch king has apologised for the Dutch royal family's links to slavery. So there's a precedent there for a European royal to apologise.
An 11-year-old boy has been found to be at the wheel of a BMW towing a caravan. North Yorkshire's police says they were called out to a theft from a holiday park near Thirsk Thursday. The vehicle was found to be travelling south on the M1, where the young suspect was arrested and later bailed.
In rugby, Joe Roberts will make his Six Nations debut against France on Sunday. Wales are still without a win in this year's campaign. Head coach Warren Gatland says the centre has earned his place.
We wanted to give Joe an opportunity. He was unlucky on the World Cup stuff. He's had a knee injury for quite a long time. He's had that fixed. And he probably struggled during the World Cup sort of camps and that, just being able to handle the volume and stuff that was thrown at him. So he's looking a lot sharper than he was during that period and when he was with us in camp. And he's a left foot option as well, and he's been training well, so we felt it was an opportunity to give him a chance.
Former Prime Minister Theresa May has announced she will stand down as an MP at the next general election. She said the difficult decision to leave the seat would enable her to spend more time on causes close to her heart.
A report's found an army spy operating at the heart of the IRA during the Troubles in Northern Ireland probably cost more lives than he saved. The agent, known as Steak Knife, died last year.
Now for the weather. It's a dry day in Cardiff with broken clouds and sunny periods throughout. Looking forward to tonight, it will remain dry with highs of 11 degrees and lows of 6 degrees.
And that's all from us here at CJS News. Don't forget you can follow us in all our stories on Twitter, TikTok and Instagram. Bryn Honda, goodbye.
This is CJS News.